His ambition was to climb one of Africa's tallest mountains, despite having lost all 4 of his limbs. And Alex Lewis from Hampshire, well, he's a man of his word. In 2013, Alex caught a common cold that led to life-threatening illness, multiple amputations and an infection that ravaged his face. In defiance of his physical condition, Alex has continued to push his own limits and been involved in groundbreaking projects. But reaching the summit of Ras Dagen in Ethiopia using a specially adapted buggy proved to be a new level of challenge. Well, Alex got back from Ethiopia on Saturday and popped in earlier this afternoon to tell me about the trip.
The trip was remarkable, actually. It was a lot harder than we all envisaged. I think we had this a picture in our head that Ethiopia was going to be nice and sunny and dry and ambient temperature, and in fact it was wet and cold and miserable at times, yeah. But it was, I think, probably the best thing that I've done.
You had this specially adapted buggy, didn't you? And I remember, you know, when we spoke to you about it before. Did it work? Did it live up to expectations?
It did work. It worked far better than what we actually envisaged. Bearing in mind it actually only worked once on a test before we went out. But actually with the terrain, the gradient, the weather, obviously the drivers as well, it was an amazing bit of kit.
Now, you went out with a lot of other people, but you also met up with somebody else who was in a wheelchair from Ethiopia. I mean, how did the Ethiopians themselves respond to you both?
They'd certainly never seen an English guy with no legs and no arms before, and disability in Ethiopia is viewed as a taboo, as a curse. So to actually take Emabet out on the road with us for 10 or 12 days in a custom-built hand cycle, visually it was just incredible, but also I think it made a lot of the children realise that actually it's not a curse. You know, you can do some amazing things, but it takes an amazing team of people.
I mean, why do you push yourself in this way? I mean, you know, you've canoed, you've skydived, you've cave dived.
I think for me the principal reason is that my son, as he grows up, will see that disability never got in my way of doing anything that I fancy doing. But this is not a solo effort. You know, it was purely made possible by David Connaughton and the other guys on the trip.
And that last part, you're talking about going to the very, very top. Of course, you could not use the buggy then, so what did you do? No,
so we had to employ a kind of 4 guys carrying me across certain parts of the mountain, and then I would get out and crawl and climb as much as I could until we got to the base of the summit. Then I climbed for about 20 metres, and then we were belayed up to the summit.
But that in itself is tough for anybody.
Yeah, I think at that point nothing was going to stop us getting to the top of that mountain. We were all just completely hell-bent on making it happen. It was more about the viewpoint of disability and actually that we could do anything. You know, the guy that saved my life, Jeff Watson, was the man that greeted me at the top of the mountain. You know, 6 years ago he and I met, and I wouldn't be at the top without him.
I know you're going to go on and do so many other things and stretch yourself even further. If I asked you what's the next challenge, what is it?
So the concept is that we take a kind of Mark II version of the hand cycle over to Mongolia, and then we aim to cross 60 kilometres of the Gobi Desert for 10 days. So 600k in total on...
at least you get the heat this time.
Well, yeah, hopefully, I could do with some. But yeah, that's the next plan, and then after that, maybe the Arctic.
Alex, you're a phenomenon. Thank you so much for coming to talk to us. It's absolutely fantastic what you do.
You're very kind. Thank you very much.